And Mayor Pro Tem Merkel is in the building. He's just not here yet. So we do have a quorum. So I will call this meeting to order. And this is the April 18th, 2022 Alpharetta City Council meeting. Thank you for joining us here this evening. And as always, we begin our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you're able, please stand and join us. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I'll note for the record at this moment, there are 4 members of council here. We do have a quorum. That's Councilman Will, Councilman Hypes, myself, and Councilman Dorito. I'll make one note. I believe they may have announced this earlier, but one of the items for the public hearing this evening has been deferred, so that will not be heard. So if you were here for the MP-22-01 Bridge Road Holdings LLC zoning, that has been deferred and should be heard by the is moved by the applicant to May 16th, 2022. Council meeting on that evening. So didn't want you to waste your time if you were sitting here waiting for that to come up. That being said, next item up on the agenda is the consent agenda. And the first item is the council meeting minutes from the meeting of March 28th, 2022. And the other item on the consent agenda is the alcoholic beverage license applications. Of those, there are several. One is PH-22-AB-07 Sterling Spoon Culinary Management Company, DBA The Market at Sanctuary Park. Item number 2 is PH-22-AB-08 Hembry Commercial Properties, LLC, 2005 Hembry Road, Alfreda, Georgia, 3009. And the third and final alcoholic beverage license application is PH-22-AB-09 ASCB, Alfreda, LLC, DBA Cleaver and Cork, 11760 Haynesbridge Road, Suite 1A, Alfreda, Georgia, 3009. In addition to those, we will also have the financial management report for the month ending February 28th, 22 on the consent agenda this evening. Is there anyone who would like to remove anything from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Hypes, second by Councilman Dorito. All those in favor of the consent agenda, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote accordingly. Councilman Hypes. And it does pass unanimously. Also, for the record, I'll note that Mayor Pro Tem Merkel has rejoined us. Next item up on the agenda is the Office of Prosecuting Attorney and City Solicitor. City Attorney Mike Stacy, I believe you'll be handling this agenda item for us this evening.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This is essentially to comply with a relatively new state law and to mirror what's being done in Milton. This is basically to standardize the position. So there's no real substantive change to the city solicitor position. It's just going to be called the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney. There's a number of different provisions in that statute that just set forth the duties, responsibilities, and whatnot of that position. So this just adopts that role as the role of the city solicitor, but otherwise on the ground, nothing's really going to change for the position.
Thanks, sir. I believe we have a resolution with this item.
Yes, sir. A resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, to create an Office of Prosecuting Attorney pursuant to OCGA Section 15-1891 for the Municipal Court, and to otherwise declare a need for a shared court solicitor with the City of Milton, Georgia, to hold the said office, and for other purposes. Whereas the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, the City and the City of Milton collectively wish to appoint a shared prosecuting attorney and to effectuate the same as required by OCGA 15-8191, the City shall create an Office of Prosecuting Attorney office for the respective jurisdictions by resolution or ordinance, and the cities thereafter will share the same court solicitor appointed to hold the created office. Whereas the city, after investigation, has determined that it is desirable, necessary, and in the best interest of the city to create the office and to formalize an agreement between the cities, i.e. IGA, setting forth the terms and conditions upon which the court solicitor will be retained and compensated. Whereas pursuant to its charter and the other laws of the state of Georgia, the city has the power to adopt clearly reasonable ordinances, resolutions, and regulations for the protection and preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare of its citizens. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the City, Mayor and Council, and it is hereby resolved by the same that there exists a need for the city to appoint a municipal court solicitor to be shared with Milton. Be it further resolved that in order to effectuate this appointment, there is hereby created an Office of Prosecuting Attorney for the city's municipal court. The same office will correspondingly be created by the City of Milton. Be it further resolved that upon both the City and Milton creating their respective Office of Prosecuting Attorneys, the city shall thereafter appoint and share a court solicitor to fill said office, and the cities will prepare and adopt an intergovernmental agreement setting forth the terms and conditions upon which this shared court solicitor will function. Be it further resolved that the city hereby adopts in its entirety Title 15, Chapter 18, Article 5 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, and the same shall govern the shared court solicitor's official duties and responsibilities and the city's respective duties and responsibilities related thereto. Be it further resolved that the office is hereby established for the purpose of providing representation of the city in matters pertaining to municipal ordinance violations and state offenses enforceable in the city's municipal court as authorized by Georgia law. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption by the city, and said office shall be deemed to be fully created and activated upon the adoption of this resolution. Be it further resolved that the city shall appoint a shared court solicitor subsequent to approval of this resolution, and at the time of official appointment of said officer, the city shall notify the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of the State of Georgia of the name of the person appointed as joint court solicitor on or before 30 calendar days following said appointment date. Be it finally resolved that the term of the court solicitor, as required by OCGA 15-8091, shall be established in the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Milton related to the shared court solicitor.
Thanks, sir. Any questions from council? Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on this item?
We do not, sir.
But if there is anyone that would like to come forward and speak on this item regarding the resolution creating an Office of Prosecuting Attorney, now's your opportunity. Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the resolution creating an Office of Prosecuting Attorney, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, to create an Office of the Prosecuting Attorney pursuant to OCGA 15-18-91 for the municipal court, and to otherwise declare a need for a shared court solicitor with the City of Milton, Georgia, to hold said office and for other purposes.
I have a motion by Councilman Will, a second by Councilman Heights, and that was to approve the resolution creating an Office of Prosecuting Attorney as outlined by the City Attorney, and the motion by Councilman Will. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve, please vote yes, otherwise vote no. And it does pass unanimously. Next up, we'll move on, which on your agenda is item C, a resolution to appoint Kelsey Maddox as city solicitor. City Administrator Bob Regas will take the presentation of this.
Mayor and Council, and before Mike reads the resolution, I would like to ask you all to confirm the vote that you had in executive session a few weeks ago to appoint Kelsey Maddox as the solicitor. So I would recommend that, and if somebody will second, we'll make the motion.
Do we need to go to public comment on that?
Sure.
Okay. Any discussion or questions from council? Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not on this item. Are you on C? Or
We're on C.
Okay.
Bob instructed me to jump around on the agenda right quick.
Y'all sneaky.
A to C to B to D,
Got it.
for those that are playing along at home. Okay. Do we have any public comment cards? You
For
did
C,
say
no, we do not, sir.
Okay. But if anyone would like to come forward and speak on this item, now's your chance. Seeing none, we will close public comment. I have a motion from council.
Mayor, I move to approve a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, appointing Kelsey Maddox as City Solicitor of the City of Alpharetta.
Have a motion by Councilman Dorito, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel.
Mayor, if I will, I think that the motion would need to be to appoint Kelsey Maddox. We will then read the resolution appointing her, and that will be, I believe that's how we need to do
The
it.
first thing that you're doing is confirming the appointment, the vote that you made in executive session. We have to do that in public, so you're going to do that first.
So we're voting to confirm.
Yes, sir,
So a motion, I guess it'd be a motion to confirm the vote that was taken.
in executive session. Sorry.
Do we have a
Okay.
substitute motion?
We have to withdraw our motion then, right? For the record, we'll withdraw our motion.
Yes, that's correct.
You were not there that night?
So I'll move to confirm the appointment of Kelsey Maddox as our next city solicitor to confirm our vote from executive session.
And I'll take this opportunity to announce that Councilman Binder has joined us. Welcome.
Seems like I didn't miss much.
Not much. Do I have a second for the motion? Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. That is to confirm the vote that was taken in executive session, appointing Kelsey Maddox as city solicitor. Okay?
We just keep appointing her, so if we ever have to go before her court, we're in good hands, good faith.
In discussion.
Hopefully not.
All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote no. And it does pass unanimously. Mayor Pro Tem Merkel abstaining because he was not present at that original vote.
Now Mike will read the resolution.
A resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, appointing Kelsey Maddox, City Solicitor of the City of Alpharetta, whereas pursuant to Article 4, Section 4.18 of the Charter of the City of Alpharetta, the City Solicitor shall be appointed by the Mayor and City Council, and whereas by this resolution, the Mayor and City Council of the City of Alpharetta wish to confirm and memorialize the appointment of Kelsey Maddox as City Solicitor, and now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia as follows. Section 1, the foregoing recitals are hereby adopted as the findings and determinations of the Mayor and City Council and incorporated herein. Section 2, Kelsey Maddox is hereby appointed as the City Solicitor. So resolved this 18th day of April, 2022.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion, any questions about the resolution? Now we go back out to the public. Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on the resolution?
We do not, sir.
Okay, but if you're interested in continuing this discussion, you have an opportunity now. Seeing no one coming forward, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that council approve the resolution of Mayor and City Council appointing Kelsey Maddox as City Solicitor of the City of Alpharetta as read by City Attorney Stacy.
I have a motion by Councilman Heights, a second by Councilman Will, and this was motion approving the resolution appointing Kelsey Maddox, excuse me, I said Casey, I believe. Kelsey Maddox as the city solicitor for the City of Alpharetta. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes, otherwise vote no. And it does pass unanimously. One more hoop to go.
Right.
All right, sir. So next item up will be the swearing in of Ms. Kelsey Maddox, and I believe City
We have the judge.
Judge Zimmerman, if you would do the honor.
Would you like your family to stand around you to do that? Come on down.
You can bring your family up if you'd like to come forward. This is a special moment.
First, we gotta meet. I'm Barry Zimmerman.
Yeah, how you doing, Brad?
Good. I'm getting there. I do not.
I'll
No.
get one while you do this.
All right. Okay, this is the family. Nice to meet you all. All right, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kelsey Maddox,
I, Kelsey Maddox,
hereby accept the honor
hereby accept the honor
of serving
of serving
as the city solicitor
as the city solicitor
of the city of Alpharetta, Georgia,
of the city of Alfreda, Georgia,
and in so doing,
and in so doing,
I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I shall honestly
that I shall honestly
and faithfully
and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of city solicitor
of city solicitor
to the best of my skill,
to the best of my skill,
knowledge,
knowledge,
and ability,
and ability,
without fear,
without fear,
favor, or partiality
favor, or impartiality
to any party,
to any party,
that I will uphold the ideals
that I will uphold the ideals
of community and service,
of community and service,
that I will act and conduct business
that I will act and conduct business
in accordance with the city's code of ethics
in accordance of the city's code and ethics
and conduct
and conduct
and the State Bar of Georgia,
and the State Bar of Georgia,
and that I shall support and defend
and that I shall support and defend
the charter and laws
the charter and laws
of the city of Alpharetta,
of the city of Alpharetta,
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws of the state of Georgia,
and the laws of the state of Georgia,
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America.
and the United States of
The United States of America.
United States of America.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you need to sign. Oh, okay. Sign right there. You're the witness, sir.
Sure. And while I do this, Kelsey, take a deep breath. Yeah, it's over now. And introduce your
Oh,
family.
sure.
You know?
Okay, so here, this is my fiance, Kyle Spate, my mother, Kathy Maddox, my father, Bruce Maddox, my brother, Bradford Maddox, and my aunt, Pamela Johnson. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard, Kelsey.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Thank you. That being said, we have one other item regarding the municipal court facilities, and that is the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Milton and the City of Alpharetta. Municipal court facilities and services. City Administrator Regas, I believe you'll be presenting this as well.
Yes, Mayor. So, we already have the agreement with Milton to share Brooks' compensation, and then we amended that to share the court facility in Milton, and now tonight we bring forward to share the compensation of Kelsey. So it's the next amendment to that contract, and I certainly recommend your approval of this. Milton's doing it tonight also.
Thanks, sir. Any questions from council? Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on this item?
We do not, sir.
However, if there's anyone in the public that would like to come speak on this item, now's your chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Mayor, I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement addendum between the City of Milton and the City of Alpharetta Municipal Court Facilities and Services, intergovernmental agreement between the City of Milton, Georgia and the City of Alfreda, Georgia regarding joint use of municipal court facilities and shared municipal clerk services.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Dorito, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel. Any discussion? Councilman Heights.
First of all, welcome, Kelsey. Very happy to have you on board. And secondly, this is just another step forward as a great day for the residents of Alpharetta, sharing the cost of essential services and working in cooperation with Milton. We get as good or better services, and we use our taxpayer funds wisely. And so I think this is another great day, and appreciate Milton's working with us to accomplish these goals for our respective cities and residents.
Any other comments? Councilman Dorito.
First of all, I want to congratulate our new solicitor, Kelsey. Welcome to a great family of the City of Alpharetta. I really just want to acknowledge your family being here, and also the fact that you were, well, for a number of years an Alpharetta resident. And I think you lived close to Park Brook, did you not? That's where I lived for 20-something years and raised 3 of my children there. So it's always nice to see an Alfreda resident do as well as you're doing in your career, and I wish you continued success, not only for yourself, but for the city. If you do a good job for us, obviously, for yourself, you're going to do a good job for our city. So welcome aboard, and we're excited to have you as part of the team.
Any other comments from council? That being said, we do have a motion that was to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Milton, Georgia and the City of Alpharetta, Georgia regarding the joint use of municipal court facilities and shared municipal clerk services. All those in favor, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote no. And it does pass unanimously. Congratulations, Kelsey. Now everything is in order, and you and your family can celebrate. Thank you. So that will wrap up that portion of tonight's meeting. Next, we have boards and commissions appointments. We have a Cultural Arts Commission pardon? Okay. Alternate appointment, Francesca Connolly. Mayor Pro Tem Merkel brought this forward.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Francesca's been well known to several of us in the city over the last couple of years between her operating Phase Learning Center, where we spent a great deal of time during COVID, is with the Rotary Club of Alfreda, as well as a fellow Rotarian. And she's the kind of person in the community that you want, who steps forward and says, hey, I want to help. And she says, you know, I'm not real picky where you put me, but if there's an opportunity that I can fill in, I'd love to do it. So Lauren helped me out, came up with a list of things. We looked at a few and said, nah, I don't want that. But when I brought to her the opportunity to be the alternate appointee on the Cultural Arts Commission, she was very excited. So I'm bringing her forward for this group to either confirm or not.
Thanks, sir. And since this is an alternate appointment, it does have to be voted on by council. So do I have a motion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I would make a motion tonight to appoint Francesca Connolly as the Cultural Arts Commission alternate.
We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel and a second by Councilman Hypes to appoint Francesca to the Cultural Arts Commission. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote accordingly. And it does pass unanimously. So that'll wrap up the boards and commissions appointments. We'll move on to the public hearing portion of this evening. As I mentioned earlier, the second item will not be heard tonight. Applicant has withdrawn it and deferred until May 16th. So we'll have one item under public hearing, and that is PH-22-03, 380 Milton Avenue. Director Cook, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Mayor and Council. The first item, the public hearing item, is shown to you on the screen. Why does it look so bad? Yeah, oh, sorry. Oh, moving on. The applicant, I thought I could fix it over here. McConnell Custom Homes is requesting changes to conditions of zoning in order to recombine two residential lots into one lot. Basically, in 2015, prior to 2015, it was one lot. They came in 2015, requested that it be rezoned from R15 to R12 and to break it up into two lots. Basically, a retirement of the original plans. Of course, it's located at 380 Milton Avenue, southwest corner of Milton Avenue and Nathan Circle. And I do have a picture of what that corner looks like. Ooh. Okay, we will move on to the site plan. Hopefully, there we go. Property is currently undeveloped. The house that was located there was demolished in 2020. And it's located, again, QA Will subdivision, also known as Nathan Circle. Property to the west is located in Meadowbrook Park Estates, and the properties to the north are unplatted single-family detached lots. The site plan does depict a two-story, 5,590 square foot home with the frontage along Milton Avenue. The home is side-loaded. You can see it's coming off of the Nathan Circle here into the garage. Some of the concerns we had previously is that there would not be, we didn't want an additional curb cut on Milton Avenue, so they are showing the curb cut off of Nathan Circle. The previous conditions of zoning limited the two separate houses to a maximum of 3,300 square feet each. So of course, the one house together is smaller than the 3,300 plus the 3,300 that would have been built. They also submitted elevations. They depict the home 2 stories. Applicant's architect provided a narrative which described what the home style, which is farmhouse. Our architect for the downtown did not find that this met one of the 10 architectural designs that are required in the downtown. However, this is a lot that's in a platted subdivision, so it is exempt by our code from following one of those historic architectural styles. The previous conditions of zoning did require that if it was approved, that it would follow one of those architectural styles. We have not included that previous condition as one of the recommended conditions, but it's certainly something council could consider. We reviewed all the proposal and find that we can support the request. It's basically going back to what it was prior to 2015. And as a part of the citizen participation, the report submitted by the applicant stated that the property owners within 500 feet were contacted regarding the application and the applicant's intent, and they did not receive any comments. We also had the citizen zoning information meeting on March the 9th, and we didn't have any public comments at that time. We are recommending approval subject to 13 conditions. Number 1, the site consisting of approximately 0.63 acres shall be zoned R15 and developed substantially similar to site plan prepared by on-site civil group dated 11/8/2021, except for modifications required to comply with the conditions below. 2, property owners shall combine the properties into one lot through a combination plat approved by the city prior to the issuance of an ENG. 3, the architectural materials shall be developed substantially similar to the elevations prepared by Diana Bolivar, dated 9/28/2021, and that's what you see here on the screen. 4, building setbacks shall be front 35 foot, side 10, side corner 20 feet, and rear 25. 5, properties shall have access from Nathan Circle. Driveway apron along Milton Avenue shall be removed with curbing and planter replaced. A 10-foot no-access easement shall be dedicated along Milton Avenue. 6, homes shall be oriented to Milton Avenue and shall be side or rear loaded. 7, minimum 10-foot landscape strips exclusive of overhead utilities shall be planted along Milton Avenue and Nathan Circle as approved by staff. 8, property owners shall dedicate 5 feet of right-of-way and improve the frontage along Milton Avenue with a 4-foot planter planted with street trees. 6-foot sidewalk and decorative pedestrian lighting as approved by staff. And 9, a 10-foot landscape buffer shall be provided along the south property line. 10, pool area shall be reduced by 25%, and pool decking and driveways shall be installed as pervious pavers. See if you can see that on the site plan. Projects shall be required to provide full stormwater management, including detention and downstream impact analysis as approved by staff. 11, no unfinished wood on decks or porches with final approval by staff. 12, property shall be connected to the sewer system. And 13, the conditions above shall replace all previous conditions of zoning on the subject property. And that concludes staff presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer those.
Do we have any questions for Director Cook on this item? Councilman Binder.
Director Cook, I'm trying to find that again. What condition was that about the stormwater?
It is number, let's see, the 10.
Okay. Can you describe a little bit more what you think, at least staff-wise, what you're looking for? Just know it's a big topic nowadays, so.
Well, on 10, Really, that second sentence wasn't required to be in the statement. It was added because of the first sentence, because the second sentence, which says projects shall be required to provide full stormwater management, including detention and downstream impact analysis, that's required by code. The reason we added that is so that since we were requiring the pool area to be reduced by 25% and the pool decking to be pervious pavers, you still can't exclude pavers. That's still something that's considered an impervious pavement to us. So that was our thinking as to why we added that second sentence, to make sure the applicant was aware that even though you use pervious pavers, you still have to have full stormwater, and that doesn't exclude from the calculation. Still have to count that.
So this would have happened, the stormwater management requirement would have happened regardless of the pool. You're just kind of
Yes.
making it explicitly aware
Yeah.
with the pool. Okay.
Because we didn't want questions later that, well, you had a condition in here that said it had to be pervious pavers, so that shouldn't have to count. We should be able to exempt that as non-impervious versus impervious.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Dorito?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a follow-up to condition number 10 being presented by staff. Can you explain the reduction of 25% of the pool decking as one of the conditions?
Sure, and I think the applicant is going to request that that be removed, but our recommendation for the 25% reduction was just looking at massing in the area, because the area that they're showing for all of the pool here at this location, and then all of the decking, with the structure also of the 5,590,000 square feet and the driveway, it was more or less.
If I could, I think it was just 5,590.
Yes, what did I say?
You said 90,000.
No, 5,590. So it was a massing reduction is why we had listed, it was a recommendation to reduce the massing of the pool area.
What do you mean by massing reduction?
Just the square footage of the pool and the pool decking that surrounds it.
Is there an issue by retaining the 25%, or?
They could retain.
No, but I mean, is it causing a problem with
No, it was simply.
too much?
It was very similar to what we do with height, size of, it wasn't because of the stormwater. It wasn't because of the stormwater. Of course, pervious pavers, anytime you can add those as the required decking,
Number 10.
you're going to have more water infiltration. But the reason we don't count pavers and remove those from the stormwater hydrology study is because they fill up with fines over time. So they may be non-impervious when they're installed, but if you don't maintain them, then they do fill up, and so they lose that permeability.
Okay. Hopefully the applicant can address the reason why they would want that removed. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Will.
I'm following up on that same question. I just want to make sure I understand that there's not a technical reason we've asked them to reduce it. It's just we decided we wanted to reduce it.
There's not a technical reason.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council? Thank you, Director. Yes. If the applicant would like to come forward, now's your opportunity.
Thank you. Perfect. Yeah. How are all you guys? Good to see you. How you doing? This is Mr. Jim Kane. He's going to be the owner of the property, owner of the home. I can't speak to how excited he's talked about moving to the city of Alpharetta and how excited he is about this home. But I don't really have much to say about the application. It's pretty cut and dry. It used to be R15. It got split into two. It went to R12. Now we just want to take it back the way it was. It's not too complicated. But the only item that I feel like there was some question to was the water retention and the pervious pavers discussion. And I brought the water specialist here with me who drew the plan to kind of explain further about why we don't need to reduce the pool by 25% or use pervious concrete or pavers, and I'll let him speak a little bit further to that.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Rouse with Onsite Civil. We've looked at this property for Mr. Kane, and a couple things that has happened. I've worked with city engineering. We've developed a stormwater hydrology plan that includes the current pool deck size and also does not include pervious pavers for the driveway or the pool deck. And we've been able to accomplish 100% water quality and rate runoff reduction without them. So we've been able to meet your current ordinance. And as you said, pervious pavers, number one, they don't get subtracted from the ordinance for water quality and rate runoff anyway, and they're expensive to install. So I see pervious pavers as an expense for the homeowner that's not going to provide any value. What we're proposing is an underground detention system that'll have stone underneath the piping, and I'm not sure if I can
it's not
get that on the screen where you can see it. But essentially how the pervious pavers work, there's stone underneath them, and we're proposing stone underneath our underground piping system to accomplish the same goal.
And the way that the water retention system is designed is all of this water that's sheet flowing off of the driveway or the pool deck is all going to end up in this system. And this system, the early quotes I've gotten on it are $90,000 to $100,000 for this 64 by 24 water retention system. And I know pervious pavers and pervious concrete can be double or triple the cost. So from our perspective, it seems like it's kind of piling on. It doesn't seem necessary in this particular instance.
And if I could, just to clarify, you said there is a plan that you've worked out with staff. Is that submitted in our materials here?
Yes, sir. It should be, it's because it's in my packet as well. It's right before you get to the architectural drawings.
The site layout?
Yes, it should have that. Do you have it there, Ms. Cook? Yeah, that page there.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. That's the one.
So that explains what the blue was.
Yes, yes, sir.
The blue is an underground piping system to treat stormwater, water quality, and rate runoff reduction. And we're capturing everything on site without using pervious pavers on the pool deck or the driveway.
I assume that it might have been as I reviewed my materials, but that's why we have the public hearing, so we can ask our questions.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything else you'd like to present before
I don't think there's anything else if there were any other questions from you guys.
Councilman Hypes.
Regarding the proposed drainage basin, I feel confident in your expertise it will work as planned when installed. 20 years from now, when Mr. Kane sells the house and this system is underground, what happens to the maintenance of it so that it works the way it's designed on day one, so that it works that way in year 20 or year 25?
Mrs. Cook, you can help me with this, but there's a stormwater maintenance agreement that is approved along with the plan that is transferable to the next step. Did I say that correctly? I did. So in perpetuity, it'll be transferred along with whenever the house is sold or Mr. Kane decides to stay there forever, he'll be responsible for it.
But it would be a private agreement to maintain this as opposed to a requirement that runs with the property. Pardon?
No, sir.
It's a requirement that runs with the property?
If I could, I believe Director Cook wanted to come forward.
Because I'm feeling good about day one, but I mean, I can mention up in the polo fields, they don't know what they have underground, but they're finding it right now when it was built from 1984. Because
And I'll look to Mrs. Cook's help, but there is a recorded document that says that there's maintenance required for this system. And your city inspectors will go out and look at it on an annual basis.
Perhaps a condition to that effect would be something that would be easily enforceable. I know we've done similar things in the
we have,
past.
and that addresses my question. If it's a private agreement, it's a little tenuous, but if it runs with the land and it's recorded, that's a different situation.
Ms. Cook, would you like to come forward?
We do have that requirement as part of our stormwater ordinance, and it does run with the land, because, I mean, you brought up some good points. You want people to know that when they purchase the property, that is something that they're responsible for.
Thank you. Start with Mayor Pro Tem Merkel, and then Councilman Dorito.
Just for clarity, the pervious pavers and the driveway and the pool deck are not necessary. And if we take those out, you're still going to be able to meet the full capacity of your stormwater.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the size of the pool doesn't change that.
No, sir.
The current size of the pool has been calculated to the site plan that you have here, and we meet the ordinance.
And that's before the request for the 25% reduction from staff.
Yes, sir.
I got it. And is it fair to say that we don't need to add the requirement of maintenance to the conditions because it's already in the city code? There you go. That's what I thought.
Councilman Dorito?
Yeah, two quick questions. Could you explain what On-Site does, what your company does?
Sure. We're a civil engineering company offering site development services for
Sir?
individual lots.
Sorry, if you could get a little closer to that microphone.
Sure.
Thank you.
We're a civil engineering consulting company that offers engineering services for individual lots, subdivisions, and commercial developments.
And the reason I'm asking, Bill, I didn't catch your last name, I'm sorry.
Rouse.
Is you mentioned quickly that you did a hydrology study. Did I hear that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's why I asked you what your company does, because...
I'm a professional engineer,
Okay.
50% owner of the company, and I did the
Has
study.
staff seen that? Did you provide that to staff, the study?
Not yet.
Okay. I'm just curious. I would love to seen it. That's
We
fine.
did one just right up
Not
the
that
street.
we need it for this. I'm just curious
No,
because
no.
we have all these big stormwater issues we've been discussing as a city council lately, and it would have been nice to actually see what a hydrology study looks like, because we
It
keep
will
talking
put you
about
to sleep, I promise, but I'd be more than happy to share one with you that was approved.
I would love to
the
see
same
it if you're
neighborhood.
willing to share it with us. I'd love to see it, though.
Sure.
After the...
They do-
Are you
they
willing
do-
to share what it costs for something like that? I'm just... you don't have to answer that question.
No, sure. Hydrology study plus or minus 10,000 is what we charge for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Binder?
Going back again to the stormwater issues, you said that with the, what's the metric that you're looking for that you need to comply to? That
Well, it's twofold. It's the state ordinance, and then we flip down to the city of Alpharetta ordinance. And what we're looking for is every storm event that they have, from the 1, 2, 5, 10, 25, 50, and 100-year storm, has to be less than what is existing. And we have to provide a measure for water quality to enhance the water that's leaving your site. And we also have to meet rate runoff reduction, which means it has to leave the site at a lesser rate than it was prior to us being here.
okay.
And what I'm saying is, with our study, we've proven that with the current site plan, we're doing that.
If it goes that we do not have the 25% reduction, would you all be willing to have it in your criteria that if we find that actuality does not meet the study, that you'd put in the changes needed, whether, I don't know what that would be, pervious or?
Sure. So what happens, there's a host of best management practices that are approved by the city and the state that we're allowed to use, that the homeowner would put in or contractor would install for him, that meets the criteria of getting your water quality, getting your detention, and getting your rate runoff reduction. And what I'm saying is, with the system that we have now, that works. If you require the 25% reduction, our system would get smaller. If we decided that we wanted to come back and build the Taj Mahal, our system would have to get bigger to meet your ordinance.
And I understand what you're saying there and the studies and put it there and it would equal. I just, we're dealing with a lot of issues here. So if it does not meet reality when it's put in, I just want to make sure it's not a system of fines that y'all are getting and then you pay the fines. I want fixes.
Sir, I think
and so
what will happen when we seek our individual lot permit from engineering, it would be denied. And then we
I don't know if that's true. Because I just would hate for it to be done and the neighbors are having water coming in to their yard, or we're having street issues.
Sure.
And I trust your work. I just also like to add the what ifs.
Sure.
On there.
So can you say it for me one more time, and maybe I can help answer the question better? What is the what if question that you'd like me to answer?
If your system doesn't do what it says it was, and water's going into neighbors, that it would be resolved rather than a system of fines, and that it could be between you and Director Cook.
Sure, and I think it's a question of kind of being a neighbor at this point.
Yeah.
Because I think the developer that was here before, they were going to build 2 lots and sell them off, and that was kind of their deal.
Yeah.
Mr. Kane's going to be living here. I don't think he wants to make an enemy out of, because we're very familiar with the neighborhood and how they have issues downstream.
Yep.
And that's not something I want to get into with the neighbors. As a builder, I want to keep my client happy, and I want to keep the neighbors happy, and I want to keep everything working correctly. So I can promise 100% attention into this detail of the project. If there's
anything to guarantee the path of good intentions is
sure.
What.
Well,
what
and
I
know we will have to get an engineered letter, an engineering separate from Mr. Rouse to come and look at the project to make sure that it's been installed correctly.
Okay.
I mean,
part of that also is the design condition, and you will have an as-built condition where we come back and prove the study was put in per plan.
Yep.
And that is part of city code already.
And I know that they're doing other projects in the same areas, like Will's Drive. They're doing similar sized. I actually just went to see one the other day to educate myself on how much actual room on the site it takes up, and what kind of challenges that creates as far as, grading and making sure that the water is working correctly. And I talked to the contractor over there to make sure that we're going to follow all of the guidelines, and he showed me how he did it correctly to make sure that we're not going to have any problems.
You guys are giving me faith in your work.
Well, it becomes a question of, okay, this is sized correctly. How much do we need to oversize something to make sure it's going to work correctly? I think that's your question.
No, it's not. It's just my question is.
If I could,
Yep.
and maybe this isn't his question, but based on the discussion, this is my question.
Sure.
So, Director Cook, if you don't mind coming forward, listening to the exchange, my concern would be is how is it that we as the governing body determine if it is functioning properly 5 years, 10 years down the road? I mean, what is in place to allow us to tell whether it is truly maintaining those parameters in perpetuity?
Right. So they are required to record, a maintenance agreement whereby they are going to maintain this every year. And we have the right to inspect it at any time. It becomes part of the drainage system because it is flowing into the stormwater system. So as part of that maintenance agreement, we do have the right, it can be Land Disturbance, Public Works, to make sure to make sure that it is functioning properly.
So we do have the capability of going on site and determining whether the rate off of the property is within parameters and all of those things.
They're supposed to keep maintenance records also, so we can look at any of those at any time to see if they've been maintaining.
Does it, Councilman Minor, based on that, if you have a follow-up, and then I'll go to Councilman Dorito.
So, Director Cook, in that situation, is it a fine, or is it the city can force the property owner to fix the issue that might, be causing issues
We actually
downstream or to the neighbors or anything? How does that work?
Right. We actually haven't had that happen. We've had, we have the new systems along Haynesbridge Road. This is relatively new where you have the larger homes that are being built with the individual systems that have to be maintained.
Yeah.
So we haven't had to go to that extreme yet. And I don't know if the city attorney wants to add anything to that process, but basically they would be in violation of a recorded maintenance agreement. So I believe that we would have.
I just don't want an issue where the fine is a nominal amount compared to a $100,000 system.
I see what you're saying. It doesn't go by our fines.
Okay.
Our fine system. So we have fines in place for land disturbing activity. But if something is complete and they actually have a certificate of occupancy, there's not an outstanding building permit. And then it goes into, a different category with code enforcement. And they have different capabilities for fines that are much more than some of them within our building code.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Councilman Dorito and then Councilman.
I don't know if Ms. Cook or Bob can answer this question. The blue part on the site plan, that's underground, correct, you said?
That's correct.
Can you explain what that system does, like, just in layman's terms?
Sure, absolutely. It's a underground piping system that all of our roof drains are tagged to. So all of the surface water from your site, from the roof, is going to be through the down drains, underground piping that gets into the system.
Okay. And is that connected to the stormwater system, or is that?
Actually, there's an outfall in the corner of the lot.
Okay.
So it's the simplest way to describe this for you is like a bathtub. So
Does it monitor the flow out of the system?
Absolutely.
Into the, okay.
Absolutely. So part of the study says that before we came on a storm event that was a historic 10-year event, you had 1 CFS.
Right.
Our proposed system controls it to less than 1 CFS.
And then, Director Cook, I have a quick question for you on the maintenance agreement that you were alluding to. HOAs around the city are technically supposed to maintain their detainage ponds annually, right?
That's correct.
But we don't have any enforcement power over that, do we?
We do, but Pete would probably have to answer that, because once it moves into completion, then it goes to, it's more of a maintenance, long-term maintenance.
Well, I guess the practical answer is we really don't go in and inspect these systems unless Mr. Sushevitz has a different answer.
I believe he does. They do have an inspection.
Unless there's a problem.
But I don't have, he would have to tell you.
Like, we're having issues with some neighborhoods that obviously our Public Works Department has been out there, and our stormwater engineer.
The
reason, the
we've
point
kind of gotten off track as far as the applicant.
No, but the reason why I'm raising,
I'm just saying that.
I'm bringing it back to the applicant. The reason
Okay.
being is I don't want to sit up here and require a single-family homeowner who wants to come into our city and invest in our city to have these maintenance requirements when we don't do it for the rest of the city, and that's my problem.
And that's because they don't have a detention system. That we don't do that for the newer subdivisions that have an existing detention system. There is not an existing system at this neighborhood that would take care of that additional water.
Okay. Thank you.
And we can continue to follow up with staff. I'd just like the applicant to go ahead and state their case and answer their questions.
Get caught up in the
Councilman Will,
debate.
I have a question for the applicant.
Yeah, this has been such a long conversation. I recall it was alluded to by Director Cook, but I have not heard from the three of you whether you're requesting to have the 25% pool reduction removed from one of your stipulations.
That was
you
our
need to actually
original-
state that.
That's what we were asking for, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Along with the pervious pavers and the pervious concrete, we didn't think any of that was necessary. But are there any other questions besides stormwater?
Any other questions for the applicant?
Don't steal my thunder.
Gentlemen, appreciate
Well, I got
the
one
space.
question, because I'm not sure the process works, and I'm not smart enough to understand this, but if for anybody that's against us doing it the way we want to do it, can they throw more questions at us? Because I don't want you guys to rule against me or something, not have to wait 6 months, without, I hired a professional engineer to do the job. He says it's good enough. We don't really have anything from the other side that says otherwise, and I just want to make sure that it goes through before I have to make 6 months to appeal, which I think is fair. Throwing a $100,000 system in the ground, and that's.
And we do appreciate your investment in the community. The intention of us is generally, if we have a condition, because I don't know what will be the motion.
Right.
We'll go to public comment after this, and then after that, I'll call for a motion, and one of the councilmen will make a motion. So I don't know the verbiage on that, but typically if we were to insert a condition that you had not already agreed to here, we would want to know whether that was amenable
Okay, good.
to the applicant.
Okay. I just didn't want 6 months to go by and we lost on the car saying, hey, what happened?
We generally try not to be punitive, especially with people that have dealt with the city in good faith. So
Okay, good. Thank you.
I wouldn't worry about that yet. If it comes up, you
I
can
was
come
just
to
told
me
that, I
after
said
the
if we
meeting.
lose it, you gotta wait 6 months. I'm like, well, 6 months, we've already waited a long time for the.
Just so you know, because you're new to the process, typically if we deny an application, there is a waiting period. But if people have been working reasonably and addressed the concerns, they can come back and we can waive that waiting period.
Okay, good, fair enough. Thank you, guys.
And we will. Not saying that it'll be deferred, but I'm just saying.
Thank you, appreciate your time.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Council.
You're welcome. Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on this item?
We do not have any cards, sir.
But if anyone would like to come forward and speak on this application, now's your opportunity to do so. Please state your name and address for the public record.
Yes, my name is James Cartmill. I live at 390 Milton Avenue. I'm at the lot immediately adjacent to this. There are two lots that adjoin the lot that's in question here. I was here the last two times this property's come up for consideration, and I felt duty bound to say, since I was here in 2015 opposing cutting the lot into two, that I'm delighted that we're combining it back into one, and I think one house is a lot better than two on there. It sure is big, but I guess that's the way they're building them these days. I was very interested in the tree survey on the planning packet. I hope they follow the recommendations on that, because there are a couple of large trees that I've been trying to keep the English ivy off of, because they're tall enough that they could fall on either of the houses that adjoin that lot in the worst case scenario. I didn't want to talk about drainage. I'm no expert on that at all, but just as information, if we get a really good rain, like multiple inches, it tends to go down the culvert on 400 Milton Avenue and me toward the front of the property near the sidewalk and settle in an area between mine and his, close to the sidewalk there. It doesn't happen very often. It takes a lot of rain to do that, and it tends to go away pretty quickly, so it hadn't been a big problem, but just as information there. And I'm glad to have someone that owns the property that wants to live there after 6 years, you know? That's all.
Thanks, sir. If there's anyone else that would like to come forward and speak on this item, now's your chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I'd offer a motion tonight to approve PH-22-03, 380 Milton Avenue with the following change to condition number 10. I wish to strike the pool reduction size of 25%, and I wish to strike the pervious pavement for both the driveway and deck.
Second.
Have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel and a second by Councilman Dorito. What were those conditions? Just so I'm clear on what.
Condition number 10, striking pool reduction size by 25% and striking the impervious pavers for the driveway and pool.
And where was,
Is that basically just the first sentence?
Yes.
oh, okay, just that first sentence
Yeah.
of 10. Gotcha. Okay, thank you for the clarification. I appreciate that. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilman Bynum?
I do appreciate your investment there. It does look like a great looking house. I just don't feel comfortable going against staff's recommendations. I understand the reason why with reducing the pool and the pervious pavers. We just had so many stormwaters. I think we're playing catch up that I just don't feel comfortable proving it with those items removed. But either way, I do wish the best of luck with you.
Any other discussion? Councilman Dorito?
Yeah, I would just like to thank Mr. Kane and on-site engineer for doing the hydrology study. I mean, I've only been on council back since January, but at least many things we're looking at lately, stormwater comes up. I'm sorry that I got caught up in this thing, but it is very much part of it. But I'm intrigued by the fact that he actually did a hydrology study, because I'm told quite often by developers that they don't like to do it until they get approval because it's costly to do. So I appreciate that you did that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving PH-22-01, 380 Milton Avenue, change to conditions of zoning, subject to the following conditions, with all of the conditions outlined by staff, removing the first sentence in condition number 10, stating the pool area shall be reduced by 25%, and pool decking and driveway shall be installed as previous papers, will be struck. Everyone clear on that motion? All those in favor, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote no. And it does pass. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We appreciate it. So that'll wrap up the public hearing portion of tonight's meeting. We'll move on to old business. First item under old business is PH-22-01, Unified Development Code text amendments, research development, laboratory, athletic facility, and fitness studio and driveways. Director Cook.
Mayor and Council, we do have a couple of small changes since the first reading, and I'll go over what those are. Mostly it was clarification. So we had the athletic facility definition as well as the fitness studio. We had brought up that you could have incidental uses. So we've defined that in the definition and put that that's occupying no more than 10% of the floor area instead of just keeping it open-ended. And then we also have, we had a clarification as someone from council had asked us to look at for the curb cuts. We had previously had a sentence that was unclear, so we added an individual residential lot shall not have more than one curb cut per 300 feet of street frontage. Previously, you could have interpreted it several different ways, so we think that that clarified. And then the last change, which was not in the first reading, was actually adding heavy manufacturing as a conditional use only in MU as well as O&I. So it would still have to be a conditional use, and it just made sense when we looked at the definition for heavy manufacturing to make sure that that is something that would be allowed for council to look at as part of a conditional use. Because a lot of the changes that we had made for research and development and laboratory do involve the use of chemicals, which is defined in our heavy industrial as using chemicals to create something. So we added that as a conditional use for your consideration. And that's all the changes.
Thank you, Ms. Cook. Mr. Stacy.
An ordinance to amend Article 1, Article 2, and Appendix A, Alpharetta Downtown Code of the Unified Development Code of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, to add definitions for athletic facility, fitness studio, laboratory, and research and development, to add and amend permitted conditional and subordinate uses in the AG, agricultural, CUP, community unit plan, OI, office institutional, C1, neighborhood commercial, C2, general commercial, PSC, planned shopping center, L1, light industrial, and MU, mixed use zoning districts, and Table 2.2 list of permissible and conditional uses, to add and amend permitted and conditional uses in the DTC, downtown core, DTMU, downtown mixed use, and DTLW, downtown live work zoning districts, to add and amend supplementary and parking and loading regulations related to access, driveways, and prohibited parking, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes.
Thank you, Mr. Stacy. And since there has been a change in addition, Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on that item?
No, sir, we do not.
But if anyone would like to come forward and speak on this matter, now's your chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I offer a motion tonight to approve PH-22-01 Unified Development Code text amendment as read tonight by Attorney Michael Stacy.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel, a second by Councilman Heitz. Any discussion?
I would.
Mayor Pro Tem Merkel.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Kathy. I know we pat a lot of people on the back around here, which is deservedly so. But this is an area we continue to get out ahead of what's going on. We're seeing changes in so much of the office occupancy, the consolidations. There's companies that, you know, may have office here and some laboratory there, and they're going to decide to combine the two. Well, our current code wouldn't let us do that. And we don't have anybody teed up that I'm aware of. This is not being changed from in particular. This is being changed to show the real estate community that we are ahead of the game. We are understanding what their needs and concerns are, as well as the building owners, as well as the homeowners who are selling houses and buying houses that accommodate and occupy these different places. So this is well thought out. She was very open, and that's why we had the two changes tonight, because we saw an opportunity to tweak it a little bit, which really made it better. And there's a lot of backstops. It goes back, even we go back to talking about stormwater. There's a lot of codes, there's a lot of inspections. There's a lot of things in place in this city, so these things just don't run willy-nilly. Nobody's going to walk in here tomorrow and put a heavy industrial on Windward Parkway. It is designed, again, to stay on the forefront. So I just want to thank you guys for continuing to do this.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the motion for PH-22-01, second reading, as read by City Attorney Mike Stacy, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote accordingly, and it does pass unanimously. So that'll wrap up the old business portion of tonight's meeting. We'll move on to the new business portion. I have several of those, and we'll begin with Director Sisevich. First item up is the Alpha Loop Design Services Change Order number 4.
I don't know how well this is going to show. Probably not too well. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Never like to come before you requesting dollars for a change order, but through our construction process and procurement, we decided to do a field visit out to the site since the last time the plans were done. And what you're looking at are two 36-inch corrugated metal pipes that have failed. And during the last couple months, probably since at least January, the pipes have failed so much that erosion has occurred on this side of the bank. And our proposed project that we're working on was to have a bridge go right through there. And unfortunately, the bridge was designed too short based off of the existing field conditions right now. When the site was surveyed and there were no erosion issues, the bridge fit perfectly fine outside the banks. The banks have eroded so much that our bridge must get longer now. And so that's going to require additional permitting and as well as design work to go through. So we're requesting $33,521 be awarded a pond to finalize the plans, actually revise the plans, get the additional permits to the Army Corps, and that will then be additional work that we'll give to the construction team who's going through the procurement process right now. So we just finished the RFQ process. We're going to start the RFP process here soon, and we'll have to add this additional scope of work to the package. So we're basically going to have to redesign the crossing in that area as well as stabilize the banks in that area. So,
Councilman Heitz.
If we pay for a further redesign on change order 4, and if there's further erosion and further changes to the area where the bridge crosses, do we have change order number 5 coming?
we are designing it in such a fashion that to expand well past this area.
Okay. Any reason why it wasn't designed that way before change order 4?
Because it did not exist when we did the original design. When we walked the site initially and everything, these issues that we see today were not present.
So there's changed conditions around this culvert, correct?
Correct. That have occurred about the last 4 months.
All right. Okay. Well, I would certainly encourage Pond and whoever's doing the designing to take into account whatever conditions are out there, because change order number 5 on that doesn't sound like a very good idea.
I wouldn't bring it forward, sir. And then, just to give everybody a little update, because I know a lot of people like this project, We want to move forward. We finished the RFQ process. We have 2 firms that are going to be issuing RFP, and our goal is to have this project back in front of Mayor and Council for award for construction before Bob retires. So we're looking at the next 2.5 months or so, get this thing taken care of. Yeah.
Thanks, sir. Any other questions? Councilman Will?
My question is a little more technical, just for my own clarity. The amendment says it's included in the current year capital budget, but it's an additional dollar amount, so I don't understand how that works.
So if our current capital budget has funds allocated for the Alpha Loop, and that's where we're pulling the money from. So we're not asking for funds from a different source to pay for this. We've got the funds within the Alpha Loop budget to pay for it.
So it's within your budget, you're just reallocating it from something else into this?
It's within the Alpha Loop budget, so we're not taking it from Mid-Broadwell Road sidewalk project or Academy Street sidewalk. We're taking it within our current allowance.
So we're not going to take a fiscal hit otherwise? It's already in the budget?
Yeah.
Good, thanks.
Right, I believe it's in the Alpha Loop fund
Correct.
from the bond.
I think this is from 317. I believe this is from the bond of 2016.
Okay. But it's just being pulled forward, and by approving this, it is entered into the budget.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Councilman Will?
Sorry, one more question. If we're moving this from a different part of the budget into here, what are we losing? What was that 33,000 going for prior?
Alpha Loop.
That's what I was
Fund.
just outlining
Understanding the
while y'all were talking. It's being pulled from the Alpha Loop fund. So there's a fund that's retaining the money that was set aside for the Alpha Loop.
So was that 33 allocated towards 10 more feet of sidewalk, and we're not going to get that 10 feet of sidewalk, or was it actually excess in the fund that we're now using?
There was a dollar amount within the 2016 bond for Alpha Loop. This is just part of that. So it's possible that portions of other section, the design work and the construction of the sections of Alpha Loop we have accomplished came in under budget, and these dollars are remaining that we would use towards. And
So in your
this
opinion,
portion-
we're not losing anything?
Excuse me?
We're not losing anything in your opinion?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Director Harris, is that correct? Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on this item?
We do not, sir.
But if there's anyone that would like to come forward and speak on this matter, now's your chance to do so. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, Mayor. Move to approve Pond and Company's proposal for change order number 4 to purchase order 180000123 for design revisions to the Alpha Loop in an amount not to exceed $33,521, and to authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Dorito, a second by Councilman Binder. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve the change order for the Alpha Loop Design Services in an amount not to exceed $33,521 for purchase order 180000123 for Pond and Company, please vote yes, otherwise vote no. And it does pass unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor Council.
All right, Pete, I appreciate it. And now we'll move right on to on-call storm structure maintenance and drainage repairs.
Every 5 years, we have allocated an on-call vendor to handle our stormwater repairs. This is, I don't want to say minor repairs, but we're talking catch basins, we're talking about replacing of pipes, we're not talking about the lining of pipes. So previously, excuse me, a couple months ago, I came forward for pipe lining. This is the pipe replacements, this is new catch basins, new yard inlets, new curb and gutter, fixing issues around that we have at our work orders that our crews are not able to accomplish. So we request, we went out for an RFP, and 3 firms submitted, and Butch Thompson Enterprises was the #1 ranking firm from the proposals by a large margin. Excuse me, by a large margin, and that's primarily because their team is still intact. No one has left their team from previously working. No one has retired. We have the same group of people working that have been working with us for the last 5 years going forward. So they already know how we do work. They already know our expectations. They know what we require out of our contractors. And in the document, there are a group of projects that we're already in the queue, ready to get going as soon as we issue this purchase order. These will be task orders given to them, and we're requesting $750,000 to be in a PO, and then we will pull money off that PO for individual tasks. And each individual task will have a separate cost associated with it. And it will be a unit line item cost, and we'll move forward that way. So it's not a lump sum contract.
Any questions from council on this item? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on this item?
We do not, sir.
However, if there's anyone here that wants to come speak about the on-call storm structure maintenance and drainage repairs, now's your opportunity. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, Mayor. Move to award bid number 22-113 to Butch Thompson Enterprises, Inc. for the on-call storm structure and drainage repairs contract, allocating $750,000 to accomplish various work orders and authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Dorito, a second by Councilman Binder. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the bid number 22-113 to Butch Thompson Enterprises for on-call storm structure and drainage repairs, allocating $750,000 to accomplish various work orders, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote no. And it does pass unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Pete. We appreciate all the work you're doing on getting these things done. Next up, we'll have consideration of the 2022 ADA Transition Plan. Mr. Drinkard, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to do my best to summarize this 84-page document before all of us reach retirement. So, basically, this deals with Title I of the ADA, and we are required every 3 years to do a self-assessment, look at all of our facilities, including sidewalks, buildings, everything, to ensure compliance with the ADA. If it is something we cannot, where we're out of compliance, then we have to identify what needs to be done to bring it into compliance. And if it is not feasible to bring it into compliance, because that can happen, then we have to make adjustments and plans for how we would deliver the same services to someone who has an ADA accessibility issue. We have to be able to provide them with that same level of service absent the adjustment. We are required to do that by law and have to do it every 3 years. We then submit it, our ADA plan, to GDOT. Absent GDOT's approval of that document, we cannot receive state funds for transportation because most of that comes through the Fed. We went through, we had several departments involved in the process of going through this. We then spent about a month requesting comment from the general public, anything that maybe we had missed. We've been very successful in recent years in identifying and addressing issues. So now what we're starting to see is the majority of issues relating to things like sidewalks and things like that, where those facilities do decline over time, and we have to make adjustments. Be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions from council? Councilman Will.
Again, sorry about this, but is this a study we've already done and you're just telling us about it?
Yes, we have completed the work. All of the things identified that are included in your packet are the result of that analysis. The analysis is performed by staff.
And there's no financial impact on anything that we found? In other words,
not that we're asking you to address tonight. There are a number of items, especially with respect to sidewalks, where the cross slope exceeds requirements, or where there's, you know how on some of the sidewalks now as you're approaching the street, you got kind of a bumpy surface. It's a warning track, for lack of a better term. There's things like that we'll have to address. All of that would be incorporated with future contracts that Pete would bring forward.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on this item?
We do not, sir.
But if anyone would like to come forward and speak on the 2022 ADA compliant report and transition plan, now's your opportunity to come forward. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Mayor, we have a resolution.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Stacy. I appreciate you reminding me. We do have a resolution to read.
A resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Alpharetta, Georgia, adopting the city of Alpharetta 2022 Americans with Disabilities Act transition plan. Whereas the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, is a civil rights law prohibiting discrimination against individuals on the basis of disability. And whereas enacted in July 1990 and amended in 2008 and 2010, the ADA consists of 5 titles outlining protections in the areas of employment, state and local government services, public accommodations, telecommunications, and miscellaneous provisions. And whereas Title II of the ADA pertains to the program, activities, and services provided by public entities, and the city of Alpharetta must comply with this section of the Act, and whereas the section states that no qualified individual with a disability shall, by reason of such disability, be excluded from participation in or be denied the benefits of the services, programs, or activities of a public entity, or be subject to discrimination by any such entity, and whereas required by Title II of the ADA, the city of Alpharetta has conducted a self-evaluation of its services, programs, activities, and facilities on public property and within public rights-of-way, and has developed a transition plan detailing the methods to be used to ensure compliance with ADA accessibility requirements. And whereas all municipalities receiving federal aid or funds administered by the Georgia Department of Transportation, GDOT, are responsible under 42 U.S.C. Section 126 to submit an updated transition plan to GDOT in order to remain eligible to receive such funding and assistance. Now, therefore, be it resolved on this 18th day of April 2022 by the Mayor and City Council that the 2022 City of Alpharetta Americans with Disabilities Act transition plan is hereby adopted and approved.
Thank you, sir. Now that we have the resolution read, do I have a motion from council?
Mr. Mayor, I offer a motion tonight to approve the resolution of the adoption of the 2022 ADA transition plan presented tonight by Mr. Drinkard.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel and a second by Councilman Well. That was to adopt the resolution. The Mayor and City Council adopting the Alpharetta 2022 Americans with Disabilities Act transition plan. Any discussion? I just will take a minute. I want to congratulate James on his work on this. I mean, this is something we update all the time. And it's good, having been here for a few years now, to see the progress, because I remember some of those initial projects and things were pretty drastic. And you have to remember, when I first got on council, we were still in the old city hall that did not have an elevator in it. And so I didn't go through the whole 150 pages, but I did scan through a good number of them. And it's nice to see the cost and the drastic change that are being made is getting down to some of the things that need to be done. But I mean, for example, some of them were desktops within our public buildings that may be 35 inches and the limit's 34 inches. And shaving down the curb on some sidewalks and things like that. So it is great. I would encourage our staff to try to move forward with the one that did concern me was the automated door openings, because that's something that's really a priority for people in a wheelchair. So I would ask us to go ahead and try to move those to the top of the list. But thanks for your work on this. It is important. That being said, all those in favor of the motion to approve the resolution as read by Mike Stacy, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote no. And it does pass unanimously. Next up, we have Director Robinson for fiscal year 22 public safety fleet purchases.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As approved in the current budget, we are requesting approval for 7 vehicles and 2 motorcycles at a total cost of $403,319.74. 5 of these vehicles and 2 motorcycles will be replacements for older units that have reached the end of their service or retirement thresholds and be auctioned. And 2 of the vehicles are replacements for 2 vehicles that unfortunately were totaled during accidents.
Any questions from council on this item? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
No resolutions on this. So, Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, sir.
But if anyone would like to come forward and speak on our Public safety fleet purchase, now's your chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. I have a motion from council.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve Department of Public Safety to purchase 7 vehicles and 2 motorcycles at a cost of $403,319.74.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Will, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the purchase of Department of Public Safety for 7 vehicles and 2 motorcycles at cost not to exceed $403,319.74, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote accordingly, and it does pass unanimously. Next up will be the Wills Park Maintenance Facility construction. Director Rogers, this one's been a long time coming. Welcome to the podium.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Council, thank you for having us. It has been a long time. We're asking tonight for approval of a contract with Prime Contractors under the State of Georgia Convenience Contract for construction of the maintenance facility at Wills Park in the total amount of $753,634. And that's broken down for the construction, that's $649,297, $65,703 for a 10% contingency, and $38,634 for construction management services through Gordian. As you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, it has been a long time coming. We actually we placed the building, the maintenance building in Wills Park in retirement on 12/27/2019. And with the idea that we had agreed with the Wills Park Equestrian Foundation to build a big ring right there where that went. Little did we know that COVID was going to hit in a couple of months and put everything on hold. We did finally get in FY21. We did our first bid for the building of this, and the prices had just went out of the atmosphere. They were well over $1 million. So we retired that particular bid, waited and did a second bid, issued a second bid, and that one came in well over $1 million as well. So then we went to a government program. The Georgia Department of Administrative Services has a program called EasyIQC, which is a convenient contract that enables governments entities to take advantage of cooperative volume discounts on contracts that have already been competitively awarded while working with numerous contractors around the state. We were able to do that through that, and with Prime and Gordian, we were able to get the construction down to the $650,000. We are if you are wondering how we're going to pay for it, $309,000 of that is coming out of the facility maintenance contract account that we already had. $116,000 is coming from capital accounts within the Recreation and Parks Department that we are going to, where we saved some money, and we're going to be able to put those accounts in retirement and use that $116,000. And the other $328,634 is coming out of the Wills Park bond money, but that money, that $328,634 will be replaced with impact fees for eligible projects within the bond, so that the bond project at the $6 million for the bond will be at the established level.
Thanks, sir.
And
question.
And I appreciate any support we can get. This is one of the projects that I have that I want to get before I retire. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get this one in.
Any questions from council? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Binder.
I would just like to compliment you. I went all the way back to our history on the Wills Park master plan, and it had it down for $979,000 for the new maintenance barn. So keep staying under budget. Thank you, sir.
Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on this item?
We do not, sir.
If there's anyone that would like to come forward and speak on the Wills Park Maintenance Facility construction, now's your chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I ask that council make a motion that council approve the award of a contract with Prime Contractors, Inc. under the State of Georgia Convenience Contract for construction of a maintenance facility at Wills Park in an amount of $649,297 plus additional funding of $65,703 representing a 10% contingency plus $38,634 for construction management services through Gordian for a total appropriation of not to exceed $753,634 and for the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
I have a motion by Councilman Hydes, a second by Councilman Binder. And that was to approve the motion to award the contract as outlined by Councilman Hydes. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote no. And it does pass unanimously. That will wrap up the new business portion of tonight's meeting. And now it will move on to public comment. So if there's anyone here that would like to make a public comment, now is your chance to come forward.
And we do have one public comment card for this evening, Mr. Mayor. The first is Sean Still. If you'd like to come forward, just state your first and last name and your address into the mic at the podium.
Good evening. My name is Sean Still. I live at 175 Jupiter Hills Point. Been there for about a year. It's in Johns Creek. For almost 20 years prior to that, I lived off of Morton Road that used to be part of Alfreda. And in 2006, y'all annexed me into Johns Creek. But that being said, I'm running to be one of hopefully 3 senators representing Alpharetta. Through the redistricting process, State Senate District 48 was created. It's a 3rd North Fulton, a 3rd South Forsyth, and a 3rd Northwest Gwinnett. So a sliver of Alfreda, AP 09 A and B, so basically the Lake Windward area. About 95% of Johns Creek, all of South Forsyth up to city limits, and the sliver of Gwinnett that is Swanee, Sugar Hill, and Buford between Peachtree Industrial and the Chattahoochee River. So this is it's an existing district, but new lines. Senator Brandon Beach will continue to serve to the west. Fulton County Commissioner Liz Hausman is running for the southern edge, which also incorporates part of Alfreda. So the map has confused a lot of folks, even in the state legislature, but here we are. So my day job is I'm a swimming pool subcontractor. I have nothing to do with the project that was here earlier, I promise. My projects tend to be a little bit actually grander than that. If you've heard or seen of Pebble Tech, I'm the Pebble Tech guy for the state of Georgia. I also have had the privilege of being here quite a few times. I teach all of the design and building code for the state of Georgia in my spare time, and then in what little spare time I have after that, I'm the finance chairman for the Georgia Republican Party. So I'm the guy that actually brought the party out of debt and saved it from financial insolvency 3 years ago. I've been a presidential elector. I have been in the news a little bit, not in a bad way, but trying to provide information for some things that y'all may have seen in the media regarding some of the Gen 6 stuff. I wasn't there, I was here, but I provided a lot of information that has kind of helped clarify a lot of misinformation in the media. So that's kind of been my role. But I employ over 100 Georgians, and I've been a huge part of the North Fulton community for basically my entire adult life. So I just wanted to take a few minutes, introduce myself to y'all in this capacity, and just to be able to say, I hope that I can work with y'all here real soon. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. God bless you for being willing to run. If there's anyone else that would like to come forward and speak, now is your opportunity to do so. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment. Any reports this evening from council? Councilman Binder.
Just quickly, in y'all's inboxes, you should have received a digital copy of the budget for next year. If you want a paper version, please see Tom. If y'all have any questions, please let me or Tom Harris know. I'd like to have a smooth process for the approval. But that being said, we have 2 weeks, and then we're going to start our workshops on them. So May 2nd, and then May 16th will be another work session. May 23rd will be our first public hearing. And that's all on our website. If we could just kind of get that on the social media so the public knows. And I know you're already in the works on that, so I just had to say it, and I know you already had it done. But appreciate it. Please let us know. And thank you for, it does take a lot of hard work within our staff, all our directors, getting that done. So, and appreciate your work on it, Mayor. But please let us know if you have any questions.
Any other reports from council?
Mr. Mayor, if I could, real quick.
Mr. Drinkard, you have the floor.
So you may have noticed a word kept popping up tonight in all of the staff reports. There used to be a little game that was played during some of the council meetings where we would slip a director a word that they had to work into their presentations. My understanding of the origin of that game apparently was incorrect. It was apparently something that Mr. Regas instigated. And so tonight, we challenged every director to work the word retirement into their presentations as kind of one of our thank yous and a little fun with Mr. Regas as we sadly watch the clock tick down. So just needed to call him out tonight.
Any other reports?
To retire to
yes.
Dang it!
I will willingly accept a motion to retire into executive session.
Enthusiastically retire.
So we have a motion by Councilman Hypes, second by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel. All those in favor, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote accordingly.
All our electronics was gone. I was.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate your attendance, and we will now adjourn into executive